Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Earrings Off. We want to invite you to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. You can find us on Facebook at Earrings Off Podcast and on Instagram at The Earrings Off Podcast.
Welcome to Earrings Off. I'm Lou.
And I'm Teresa. Let's get started.
Well, welcome, folks, to Earrings Off. We know you are busy people. We know you are busy people, and Teresa and I thank you for joining us today. So today, Teresa and I, we thought we would talk about gratefulness, gratitude. You know, sometimes with the world swirling, it's hard to find anything to be grateful for. And I don't know about you, but right now, personally for me, it's definitely swirling. But there's a saying that if you aren't grateful for the rain, you really can't appreciate the sunshine. So today, Teresa and I, we're going to pause to talk about gratefulness as we approach the upcoming holiday season, Thanksgiving particularly, and the end of 2022. We're going to start with a few quotes. When gratitude becomes an essential foundation in our lives, miracles start to appear everywhere.
Yeah.
Maya Angelou said, I learned a long time ago, the wisest thing I can do is be on my own side. Oh my goodness, her writings were so profound. Isn't that something? That's the wisest thing you can do is root for yourself.
Root for yourself.
The last one is by Dan Gutman. Sometimes we spend so much time and energy thinking about where we want to go that we don't notice where we happen to be. So we're pausing today to just be thankful for where we are and to talk about gratitude. So, Teresa, what do you want to say about being grateful or gratitude?
Well, I would like to share a definition that I found on a website. It wasn't out of Oxford or any of the dictionaries. It was on a website that I was looking at recently. And what it says is that gratitude is a conscious, positive emotion one can express when feeling thankful for something, whether tangible or intangible. Gratitude implies much more than showing good manners. It's a practice that requires acknowledging someone else's gesture towards us or the things that are going well in our lives, right? So it's a tool based on this, is a tool that we can use to help others feel good and to feel good ourselves, right? So in keeping with the quotes, I too found a few quotes. One from Oprah. She says that it's if you want to change your state of being, start being grateful. And Steve Harvey said, joy and depression can't exist in the same space. Gratitude changes your perception. So being grateful and acknowledging that you're grateful can bring you joy if you're feeling down, is what I got from that.
Yeah.
Gratitude turns what we have into enough and more. It turns denial into acceptance, chaos into order, confusion into clarity. It makes sense of our past, brings peace for today, and creates a vision for tomorrow. Now, that's a quote from Melody Beattie, who is an American author that writes self-help books. Right? Okay. So for me, gratitude is something that when I start my day with, honestly, I didn't realize how
Right.
important it was. Like, and I won't say that I start every day, but the days that I start with writing, the first thing I write is what I'm grateful for. Now, and then
So
when
you
I'm, if,
journal first thing in the morning? You
and
journal
I,
first thing in the morning? Okay.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
Mm-hmm.
yep. And I can say that I'm like lately I've been doing it at least 3 times a week, at least 3 times a week.
Oh,
So I
that's
get up in
good.
the
Yeah.
morning and yeah, and I journal. So and at the top of the page I write what I'm grateful for.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So in
Yeah.
some form and throughout the day too, I might say what I'm grateful for. And I do believe that it changes your mood. I do. It
Oh, yeah.
changes my mood. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
so true. Well,
Hmm.
I looked at it when we said we talk about being grateful and gratefulness. Gratefulness. I thought about what were some things or things that had happened to me that I was most grateful for.
Yeah.
And the thing that always sticks out is I really was given the best gift ever by a friend's daughter. And to this day, that's a gift that I'm most grateful for. And I don't know if I shared with you about the time I got a schematic. Did I tell you about that?
I don't think so.
Well, when we sold a house and moved into another one, and once you're moving and you're dealing with all of the expenses of the move and the new mortgage and everything, that the larger electric bill and everything else. So we just really did not want to put any more money out there. We just wanted to be very careful going into the new place while we adjusted to this new mortgage, which was considerably more than our last mortgage. So I was telling my friend's daughter, I was saying to her, because she's into decorating, has a very good eye for design. And I told her, I said, I just don't want to spend any money. I want to be able to use what I have from the old house in the new house. I don't want to have to buy new stuff. And because every time before when we moved, I'd immediately gone out and picked out new stuff. And so she came over one Saturday and she said, Lou, I just want you to, she sat down, she said, I want you to tell me every piece of furniture you have. And I want you to tell me every lamp, every table, every chair. And she wrote this list of everything I owned. And then she came back, after we, closed and everything. She drew a schematic of my new house. And in the schematic, she told me where to put every piece of furniture that I owned, every rug. She decorated it and she labeled it, right? Everything. And so when she finished, she said, well, you're going to have to buy one rug, but that's it. And to me, I didn't even know she could do that. For her to take the time, first of all, she listened, she cared, she listened, and she used her gifts to be a blessing to meet my need. And because I was overwhelmed with it all. So I was very grateful for her caring enough to take that kind of time and figure out, what can I do to help her? And oftentimes when we think about gratitude of somebody giving us a gift, it's like something that costs a lot. But what she did was use her talents to meet my needs. So that was always very special to me. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that was very special. So my gratitude practice, if you will, is a lot simpler. So, the things that I write um are I'm just grateful for waking.
Hmm.
I'm grateful for my health.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for my mother's health. I'm grateful that I have a job.
Yeah.
Things like that, right? I think
Yeah.
about all the things that I have because guess what? If I didn't have them,
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
it would
And
be
and
a,
I
it
think,
would be a different.
well,
Yeah,
and
I'm
that's what
grateful.
Yeah. And that's what Dan Gutman, I think, was talking about in his quote about we spend so much time and energy thinking about where we want to go and like what we want to have, and we don't appreciate just where we are. And many
Right.
times, somebody said this to me yesterday that when they journaled or look back over things that they've asked for, prayed for, meditated on, and to look like from years ago that those things occurred and they now have them, that's amazing. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's not
that is
always
amazing.
about the next thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that
Yeah.
that is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, in always when I think about being grateful, I can never think about that without thinking about, my mom, being a widow with 7 kids, and just her being able to ferret us through childhood, and my siblings. So just being grateful and thankful for the people who poured into you, who've loved
Oh,
you, who picked
absolutely.
you up when you've
Yeah.
fallen, who told you it was going to be okay when you weren't quite so sure it would be. So, yeah, I think about that. Yeah.
Yeah. That quote too that I heard from Steve Harvey about joy and depression not existing in the same space and using gratitude as a means to overcome depression is pretty powerful. A lot of people, you know, I don't know, when I mention Steve Harvey, a lot of people don't, you would think he has a lot of fans. I mean, but some
Well,
people
he
don't.
used to until,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't necessarily think he aligned himself with the former president, but the fact that, people, that's how it was viewed, particularly in our community. I
Yeah.
think that caused some of the disconnect with him. Yeah.
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 But he starts his radio show um each morning talking about things that he's grateful for. He talks a lot about faith and
Hmm.
prayer and his spiritual walk, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and so when I heard that, when I saw that quote, I was like, well, there's another one. I didn't hear that one on the show. I read it on the
Hmm.
on the
Hmm.
internet, but yeah, he I'm not sure. I know he's written a couple of books, but I think he would have a book by putting all of his quotes in it, like all of the things. I don't know if they're unique, if they're
Yeah.
his, or if he read them, if there's in some of the readings or teachings that he has uh, received,
Yeah.
but they're pretty good.
Well, and I tell you, you've never read one of his books? I think I read one. Was it the one that they made into a movie, How to Think Like a Man? I think I have that one. You know, that
No,
was a good book. And that was a good movie. It really was.
I have to admit, I saw the movie, but I didn't read his book.
Well, are you laughing at my literary choices? I mean, if that's is that what this is about?
I think
Yes,
so.
I read Steve Harvey's book. I read all kinds of books, and it was very good. It was a
Well,
very good book.
I'm
I
pretty
t-
sure that I'm pretty sure he has ghostwriters though.
well, yeah, yeah,
And I say
probably.
that,
But,
yeah, I'm
but
not judging him or
I was about to
anything.
say you don't sound like you're judging, but you sound like a hater. But
I'm
anyway,
not hating. I mean, the guy is a multi-gazillionaire. I'm not
but
hating.
I think that was a good show he had too. Did you ever watch that before they? I don't know if they,
Family Feud?
did renew its contract. No, I'm
That's
not
one of
talking
my
about
favorites.
family.
What show?
Okay. The talk show, the Steve
Oh
Harvey, the
no.
talk show. You
No.
never saw that? Oh, that
Mm-mm.
was good too. I thought he had good stuff on there. But anyway,
Remember, Lou,
okay.
that show comes on during
Uh-huh.
the day. It came on during the day, though. Not work.
well, okay. Let me tell you. Don't you try to get on your little pompous thing because you have a job and I don't. Okay. I was working too, but I would catch snippets of something. So
I'm
anyway.
just saying. I'm just saying. But I'm sure if his show was like the
And have
intro
you
to his.
never heard of video? I mean, you can record something.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. That's what. Yeah, you're right. You probably. Yeah. You recorded it,
Don't
right?
you try to get on here and make it look like I'm a slacker. Yes, it was on during the day. And so what?
No,
anyway.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is, I was you have done your dues, my sister. You retired.
Thank you.
Right?
Thank
and
you.
I wish I was retired. So no.
No, you don't, Teresa. It is a very hard life getting up and
give it to me. let me sign up for that.
It's a very, very hard life. But yeah.
But what I was gonna say was I don't know. You've never heard this radio show though, right? Like,
yeah, I've heard. Well, is that the one with Uncle Tommy on it?
Uncle Tommy, cousin Tommy, nephew Tommy,
nephew Tommy. Okay, yeah. Okay, is that the one?
Yeah, that's the one.
I guess I've
so
heard
I don't like his radio show. I don't like the comedy on his show, but I like the intro. That's all I listen to. But I do like Family Feud. Okay, so there you go.
Okay, all right, okay. Well, let me tell you, we're off topic, but since you brought up Family Feud, I maybe would have liked Family Feud, but I have a family member who's apparently is addicted to Family Feud. So when you go to their house, that's all that's on the freaking loop, and it's on. I mean, that show must be on some kind of 24-hour network because it's one episode after another. And I'm always sitting there going, you have got to be kidding me.
No, really? I don't know.
We're going to watch this? This is what we're going to watch. Teresa, we are off topic.
Yeah, let's get back.
Let's get back on topic. We're talking about, and apparently Teresa is grateful for Steve Harvey. Okay, there you have it. So... Anyway, Teresa, anything else you want to share on your gratefulness, your gratitude practice, or anything about that?
No, okay. I don't. I don't want to share, but I will. You hit on something that I discovered in preparing for this show, that people use their gratitude practice to manifest. Like you alluded to someone who looked back on their writings about being grateful. So that hasn't happened for me. That's the only. Maybe I'm not doing it right.
Really?
But I didn't use it for that actually. But no.
So when you write in your journal, you write what you're grateful for, but not about any you don't write about future goals or what you want.
I do write about future goals, especially since we started this podcast. Yeah. I write in it that
you need to be manifesting harder, but that's just me.
I do write about things in terms of my health being like positive statements about being healthy. I claim health and wellness. I speak as though it is always true. And I do. Yeah. And so I speak about it, some other things too, but my journaling is a stream of consciousness. Other than saying I'm grateful, I write a stream. It's what's going on in my head, and I just get it on paper. Right.
And you know how sometimes you say, oh, you're jealous of my yoga practice. You miss it. Because your schedule. But see, that's the thing you do that I just don't. I told you, I never was disciplined enough to even keep a diary as a young girl. I get all hyper, when other girls would talk about it, and, I get a diary and I write a day or two, and it's like, I don't want to do that. And it's the same thing with the journal. I just cannot get into that. And I have tried through the years because I've heard about how beneficial it is. And even therapeutic, it being therapeutic. I cannot get into journaling. I just can't. And people have given me as gifts beautiful journals through the years. And I end up writing, like lists and things I have to do and eventually in them, but I don't use them for journaling.
I have always written, just like I said, I use it as a stream of conscious. So I start with a blank book. I don't use writing prompts until, And this is one thing I'm grateful for, a gift that I received from you.
Yeah.
Okay. And it is the best. It's got the writing prompts in there, and they're biblically based, and it is getting me closer. This is what I've started doing with that one, because it's not a stream of consciousness. I read the prompt, and then I have to think about it, what I want to write, and I give myself 10 minutes to write on that prompt. And it's always a Bible verse, and it's what emotions that verse evokes from me. And I never thought I would like writing from a prompt, but it is so good. It is so good.
Yeah, you do like that one.
I love it. But I wanted to also add, it was as a child when I was a teenager, young, starting at 13 when I got my first diary, and I just kind of never stopped. And when I moved to Virginia from Atlanta, I recycled an entire box of journals because, I was afraid that, because I was moving here because of my now husband. I don't know what I thought I didn't want anyone to ever read those, right? I but that was the worst thing I could have ever done. I regret that to this day. Because I love going back and reading what I thought on a given day or time. And it really is therapeutic. Good, bad, and indifferent. I write it all. No matter what's going on, I write about the good. Some people only write about bad things that happen to them. But I write about it all. I write, like I said, it's a stream of consciousness. Whatever's on my mind, whatever's bothering me.
That's a wonderful practice. Never got into that, but I do have my mantra that I say every day.
Oh, so I love you.
I do that. And that sort of grounds me for the day. And of course, say my prayers and all of that. So yeah. But it's good to start the day with something to sort of settle your spirit, to calm you down, to set your intention for the day. So
I would venture to say that your morning prayers is like a verbal journal. The prayers that you do in the morning.
Yeah.
Those are that's the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
You can write those.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So Teresa, let's talk about recent news items. Yeah.
So the thing that I have to start out with is the fact that it's election day. It's in America, right? And it's a little late for today, but the point that I want to make is no matter which election cycle it is, it's important to vote. It's important to vote no matter how many things are on the ballot, no matter of whether it's for a presidential election or the midterms.
Yeah.
And I would venture to say that in this climate that we find ourselves in, midterms are much more even important than the presidential election. Yeah. They are becoming that way, especially, like I said, with the climate that we find ourselves in, with all of these election deniers.
Yeah.
So that's what I wanted to talk about.
Well, that's what I meant when I said the world is swirling a bit now. It's just a lot going on right now. So, but I tell you, I saw something interesting. Teresa, you're gonna have to bear with me. The Boston Bruins, that's a National Hockey League team. Did you know that, Teresa?
I did not.
Okay, all right. The Boston Bruins rescinded their contract.
I'm going to stop doing that.
Sports is not your thing. If you start talking about the health stuff, you're going to see my eyes gloss over. So
I got something for you tonight. Keep going.
Oh, she's getting feisty. All right. Okay. Teresa, this is my turn. Okay. I'm afraid, but I'm all right. The Boston Bruins rescinded their contract with Mitchell Miller after the National Hockey League deemed him ineligible to join the team due to a bullying incident the player participated in when he was a teenager. Now, he's
No.
now 20. The decision is effective immediately, just days after they signed him to an entry-level contract. They changed their position after reviewing information on Mitchell. Mitchell was convicted of a bullying incident where he and another teenager were accused of tricking their black classmate, Isaiah Myers Crothers, into eating candy that had been placed in a urinal.
Oh, my goodness.
This is the second time that his path to the National Hockey League has been abruptly blocked. And Miller and another team, they admitted to the bullying, and he was sentenced to community service. Now, in explaining the decision, the Bruin president, Cam Neely, he apologized to the victim, Isaiah Myers Crothers, and his family. And the president said, as a father, I think there is a lesson to be learned here for other young people. Be mindful of careless behaviors and going with the group mentality of hurting other people, because the repercussions can be felt for a lifetime. Now, to his credit, Miller said, when I was in 8th grade, I made an extremely poor decision and acted very immaturely. I deeply regret the incident and have apologized to the individual. You know, that just struck me because that happened when he was 14. And you think about that. It's just an unfortunate incident all around. But some may say that you shouldn't cry for Mitchell, since he still has to be paid $500,000 per year for the length of his contract. I believe it's for 3 years. However, his potential earnings could have been on average about $3.5 million a year had he actually played in the National Hockey League. And it is quite likely, after all of his hard work and his dreams for the future, that no team is ever going to want to align themselves with him, because he's such a controversial player.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's consequences. And,
very much so.
I mean, we're hearing about that story, but how rare is that, right? Like,
Well, what I think happened from what I read, after they signed him, because they signed him, the Bruins signed him, but there was such an outpouring against him. Much like people.
So then he must have maintained that kind of bullying beyond his teams.
Well, people were saying it was more than that one incident, that he basically just traumatized this young man. And, was a bit, from what I've read, was a bit of a privileged kid, and just engaged in bullying behavior. And I think the public outcry was so great that, they just decided, no, this is not something we're going to be able to align ourselves with. So,
wow. That's all I can say about that.
Yeah. So people need to be aware of the potential consequences to behavior like this. Yeah. Yeah.
So, that's pretty bad for him.
Very much so. Very much so. And Teresa, I don't know if you saw, though, and this was in the paper yesterday or today. Well, I know I saw it today, but it was just happened this week, I think. A white student at the University of Kentucky is now facing criminal charges after hurling racial slurs at and attempting to punch a black student. I saw the video where she's calling this white student who is drunk, is calling the black student the N-word and trying to. You saw that? And so that did not. So now she faces criminal charges. So it's
As
like,
well as we
oh,
should.
yeah, and so even when you're inebriated, there are consequences to your actions. And when I was watching the black student, I was thinking, she's probably thinking like a lot of us. How do you handle this? She did a great job, but you don't want to strike back because if somebody's going to be called, you're worried that you may be the one in handcuffs. You may be the one that's kicked out of school, even though you've done nothing to this other person. So yeah, that happened, and I believe that.
Go ahead. I'm
What was
sorry.
that? Yeah. So this just happened that people need to be. Sometimes I think about the video cameras on phones. That has been one of the greatest tools for actually showing how people behave and what the rest of us are having to endure in different environments. So because I think her friend captured it on video with her, calling the student the N word, and now of course she's facing charges. So people have to remember that they are when they are raising children, they need to be talking to them about repercussions because this stuff comes back to haunt you. Now, this young lady's picture and name is splashed all across the news, and it's bad enough she's on camera drunk, but the other is certainly not helping. So
yeah, I'm not real sure about what kind of drunk she was because had I not read that, I wouldn't have known that she was inebriated. And I will say that sister had great restraint because I would have punched her.
Yeah, I know. I was so proud of her.
I was really proud. I was really proud of her too. I hope that I would have been able to. I say I would have punched her, but I'm just kidding. I'm not a fighter. I'm a lover. But
yeah, no, I'm a fighter. But I also think but that you also think about the repercussions, so you don't want to react because that's just not going to go well. Yeah,
there was one point in the video where the girl stated, "They don't pay me enough for this."
I know. I heard her say that. Yeah, because she was sounds like maybe she was a dorm person or something.
She was the RA. She was the resident.
Yeah, I remember my time at South Carolina doing that, and there would be a lot of drunk girls coming in from the weekend.
Yeah, that's crazy. So, as you predicted earlier, I do have a story about that's related to health. Don't you roll your eyes.
Go on.
So this was a study that I found. It actually happened in Brazil, but it's for all of us. The title of it was "Highly Processed Foods Are Linked to Early Death." Right? And so it was a study of 57,000 Brazilian people between the
57,000.
5730. Yep.
Yeah.
Between the ages of 30 and 69. That in 2019, 57,000 Brazilian people died between the ages of 30 and 69, and their deaths was attributable to the consumption of ultra processed food. That amounts to more than 10% of annual premature deaths in Brazil among that group. So it goes into a lot of detail about what they were looking for. I mean, what the study did, but I wanted to just focus on what is ultra processed foods.
Yeah.
Because it's stuff that we eat every day, right? Anything with food colorings or flavorings and other additives. The whole instant noodle craze, college students live off the oodles and noodles. Frozen pizza, store-bought cookies, and cakes and pies. They fall into that category, right? any mass-produced baked goods like bread, cakes, pies, margarine, salted crackers, cookies, meats like ham, hot dogs, hamburgers, turkey, pizza, or sugar sweetened beverages. Those things that we just, for convenience, we pick up and we eat, they're considered ultra processed. And those are things that, we can, it takes some time, yes, and some getting used to, yes, but we should be thinking about getting back into our kitchens to bake and to cook and to make those things for ourselves. Then they're not considered ultra processed, and you can eat as much as you like. Don't do that, but you won't want to eat as much as if you take the time to cook them, because I do find myself baking and then not wanting to eat it because I cooked it, right? I baked it. So it just depends. So that's the thing that I wanted people to hear. 57,000
of people
premature deaths related to consuming highly processed foods. And I like some of the highly processed foods, like the veggie burgers. I mean, I would love to eat those every day. But that's
but you
also
told me about those.
Highly processed
and I thought I was doing something healthy by trying them.
Any mass-produced food like that's considered a highly processed food.
Okay.
But before you, okay, did you want to make a comment on that?
No, I'm good.
I'm so anxious to get this out because I just want to just in your face, in your face, right?
Go ahead.
So my good deed is sports related.
Okay. All right. Okay. Go ahead.
Do you know who Deion Sanders is?
No, I don't know. But I don't know. He used to play in Prime. What? Yes.
Oh, Prime. You know Prime Time.
Jacksonville State. What? Seriously, Teresa, was that it that you... Seriously, Teresa, all jokes aside, did you honestly think I wouldn't know who that is? I mean, seriously.
No. I know you know who Deion Sanders is.
Okay.
But did you know that he's coaching at an HBCU? Did you know that?
No, but I heard he's living in Jacksonville. I'm not sure, though.
Okay. You do know. You do know. Okay, I can't put one over on you. But anyway, I chose him for my good deed today because I think it's admirable that he would take his celebrity to a small HBCU and bring the type of attention to that school that would help it grow and give them the much needed attention. They said because of him, ESPN, Sports Illustrated, and now CBS are doing deals to air HBCU games. Isn't that amazing?
That's amazing. And I had him for us to talk about on our next popover. Instead of women who kick butt, it was going to be men who kick butt. And you had to do it tonight. So we're going to be scratching that for Saturday morning pop-up show, which was going to feature Deion Sanders Prime and what he's doing in Jacksonville for the great work he's doing. But don't worry about that. But no, Teresa, it's a wonderful good deed. Yeah.
But it's a great story because his children actually attend that university.
Yeah. And he's doing, but not only has he gone there and left his lifestyle, he certainly didn't have to do it, but it was something he feels very committed and passionate about. But I watched some of some of the speeches that he gives in the locker room with his players. He is molding them. He is shaping young lives. And I'm telling you, he's motivating me. Because he really is pouring into them, teaching them about life and expectations and how they conduct themselves. So definitely, certainly a good deed. So a nice choice, nice pick. Yeah.
Okay, Good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Lou?
It's good stuff. It's good stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
So do you want to give a good I have another.
Go ahead. But let me share my last news story that I
Oh,
just saw that in late October, the average 30-year fixed rate mortgage is now up to 7%. And so while the average home price in the US is about 425,000, that's adding like $1,100 per month extra into folks' mortgage. I don't know how people are making it out there. You know?
wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize the average home price in the United States was
Yeah.
400,000.
Yeah. I was surprised by that. But I'm thinking about people who maybe have had to relocate for a job or just need to make a change and now having to get a new mortgage with those kinds of rates. With when you think about that, and like you just shared the segment about the processed foods and people having to wanting to eat healthier, buying better food, so the food prices are high and everything else, and the mortgage, that's a big hit on anybody's income. That's our most the average American, that's your big expense per month.
That's
If
right.
you're a younger couple, I know when I was, when I had my son younger, his daycare was actually more than our mortgage, but now that's not but it is a concern for young couples how much they have to spend in daycare. So when you add child care to that increased mortgage costs, it's just a lot for families, which makes you think about why the elections are so important, why we get people in Congress who can connect with us and understand the struggles of everyday people. So I
Hmm.
just thought, oh my goodness, that's a lot. That is a
That
lot.
is a lot. That is
Yeah,
a lot.
yeah, yeah.
That is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
And the
but
thing about that too is the people who have to purchase now, like they can't wait until the market turns again,
there you
will
go.
be upside down in those loans when the mortgage when
Yeah,
it turns
yeah,
again, right?
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
it's really sad and
It is. It is
just
very
crazy.
much so. I'm telling you. But Teresa, I saw something that was a good deed. Did you
Hmm.
want to say yours?
Nope, go ahead.
I saw something that was a good deed. Songwriter Emily Kavanaugh started offering custom songs for patients dying of COVID. Now her nonprofit, A Song for You, runs with the help of 50 volunteers, and they write songs for people who are who are sick or maybe dying. And they started it, like I said, for COVID patients because they were scared and alone and isolated as they faced the end of their lives. But this nonprofit continues to provide that service. They write songs about the person's life. So she wanted to do something to help. So she started calling hospitals to ask if anybody would like to have a song written about them. So I thought, how amazing is that to have somebody write a song? So I thought about you, and I thought that if you had your song written, it would probably be something like, I like kale. It would be along those lines. And if I had mine written, it would probably be, at least Nasheed and Teresa can't nag me anymore, and I'm going to glory where the ice cream is free. There you have it.
Oh my Lou, I can't with you. I cannot. I cannot with you. Oh my God.
That's going to be the theme of my life. I'm going to glory
I'm
where the
trying to
ice
keep my
cream is free.
composure on this show. You are too much. You are too much.
There you
You
have
are
it.
too much. But you
So
know
if
what,
something
Lou?
happens to me, tell I already got my title.
Let me tell you something. People are so creative
Yes,
and they're so different.
seriously. Yeah,
That
yeah.
gives me hope for humanity. That
Right,
is
right. Seriously,
such a
seriously.
heartwarming story. I love that.
Yeah. And
I
I
love
mean, they say she's doing amazing work
I love
to
I
write a song to tell about people's lives. So,
I
and
love love
that's
love it.
something that their families will always
Yeah.
have. So,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Well, let me just give you something else to tease me about.
Okay, there's so much. It's such a rich field, but go right ahead.
So I'm getting ready to geek out just a little bit, you know.
Okay, what else is new? Go on.
So you know how I love tea. I love tea. And you
Lord,
know,
please deliver me from another tea story. Go on.
Lou, this is a story that you know how important it
And,
is.
and, and let me tell you, folks, you have no idea how serious she is about all of this. But go on, Teresa.
Lou, you know,
What new big thing happened in the world of tea this week?
you just wait. You know how important it is
Very.
for an individual to see someone like themselves in a role that they would like to be in. So
Yes.
I have found a lady. Well,
Okay.
she's doing this business with her husband. There's a couple, and the name of their company is called Couples, Cuples Tea House. They started a tea house in, of all places, Baltimore, Maryland.
Oh, I know you'll be going up there. Go on, Teresa.
Yes. So they put a tea house in the hood, right? Okay. So first of all, let's start from the beginning. So
okay. Yes, let's.
So this is the brainchild of Lynette and Eric Dodson. It's not your stereotypical quaint shop on a scenic street. Okay. Instead, their Baltimore storefront located in an urban area that is in need of a makeover. But the couples, which make Couples, Cuples, an even brighter burst of hope, persistence, and fabulous tea flavors. Okay, so let me tell you about them. So they love tea. They love tea and met and bonded over tea. That's the long and short of it, right? And so the two of them attended a expo that I didn't even know existed until I saw this.
Now you learned about expo too. Okay.
It's called the World Tea Expo, and it's in Las Vegas, Nevada. And I will be attending that in March. You can come.
I'll be going with you, but I'll be in the casino. But go on. Okay.
Well, anyway, so they brought this idea. They went to that tea expo, and that's where this couple's tea house was born. The idea of it was born. They brought the concept back to Baltimore, and of course, people were like, "That's not for us."
Those are my peeps. But go on.
They didn't want people that they had to introduce tea to the community, right? And so the way that they did it was by giving the teas clever names and not serving the cute cucumber sandwiches, right? So they have tea names that are like Soulmate, and Autumn Leaves, Black Sunshine, We Oolong Together. Isn't that cute?
Oh, profound. Go on. Okay.
And they have, instead of cucumber of egg sandwiches, they have blackened chicken sandwich wraps, chicken and waffles, things like that. So what they've done is they've brought people together who like tea. There were some, and people who didn't know about tea and its healthy benefits, and they've introduced them to tea. And together, these two groups of people who would have never met before come together in this tea house to talk about the benefits and the healthiness of tea. Lou, that's an amazing story.
That is amazing. That is amazing stuff.
And it is, I couldn't believe it when I found this story. I was like, oh my goodness, I want to go there. I want to go.
I know you do, and you're serious. You're going, aren't you?
I'm going, and I'm going to the tea.
You're going to the tea expo. Okay.
Because I want a tea store, and maybe when I get there, the name and all of that will click for me.
Yeah.
You know, I've talked about it. I want to.
Yes, you absolutely have talked about you want a tea shop.
This is the thing one thing that I write about. I will have a tea store as popular as Starbucks is to coffee. So that's what I want.
And I want you to have that.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Good deal. Good stuff, Teresa. The couple that opened the tea place in
Couples Tea House.
Couples Tea House. Shout out to them. Look out for Teresa. She'll be coming up there and stalking you. But and of course, the big news, of course, was the attack on Paul Pelosi, the speaker's husband. That was crazy. That and what was in the news was what our governor, who represents us from the great state of Virginia, said. He made light of it.
Did he
Made
really?
light of he made light of the attack by saying something like, when somebody said she was gone to California, he was like, we want her to return to California. He said something like, he meant like permanently or something. I think I don't know if he was trying to joke, but it fell flat. It was just not good in light of the fact that was a horrendous attack. And that Mr. Pelosi has been in surgery and intensive care. But what he actually did in the end, which I don't know if people consider it good news, it should not have happened, but he did something which a lot of us should take as an example. He apologized. And sometimes you say things off the cuff. You make a bad move. You say the wrong thing, but he did apologize. So people make mistakes, but I think voters make even bigger mistakes by electing people who are ill-equipped to lead. But in this instance, Governor Youngkin immediately spoke out against the violence. Well, he didn't immediately, but he eventually spoke out against the violence against Mr. Pelosi, and he made statements to try to clean up his earlier statements. So that's what I saw that struck out at me in Virginia news this week, last week. So
I can't even comment on that one.
Well, but it wasn't just him. There were several people who said unkind things in the midst of this.
I didn't, Glenn Youngkin is, he's not one of my favorites, but I do know that they're talking about him as being a person in line for running for president.
Yeah.
And I didn't see him as one of those folks, right?
Yeah.
And to hear that he too made comments that were disparaging against a man who was bludgeoned and life changed forever. He's not a young man.
No.
And he's very lucky to be alive after being smashed in the head with a hammer.
Oh, it's terrible.
And people making light of things like that is just, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just awful.
Well, I just think it's where we find ourselves now. People have just aligned themselves with a particular party, and both sides, need to be in check, because neither is without blame in any of this, quite frankly. So, but I think at the end of the day, what I said earlier, we have to remember that, a house divided will fall, and we're all in this. So I'm on eggshells about the results. When we get off, I'll be immediately trying to see how things are going, and just hoping that good people end up elected, not only but this year, but next year and the years to come, and that as Americans we make good choices, which are choices that continue to support our democracy. So, yeah. But Teresa, you got anything else? You got to talk about tea. Is there anything else you want to tell us to stay healthy and be well? Folks, please be mindful of the upcoming holiday. Don't take after me. Don't be like Lou. Be like Teresa. Eat responsibly and do well. Make good choices. All of that for this upcoming Thanksgiving. Teresa, why are you looking like that?
Because I don't always make the right decisions.
No, you don't always make the right decisions. You're not perfect, but I'm just saying, use her as an example. Read some of her blogs. Get some inspiration for healthy eating as you approach the holidays. That's all. So, thank you all for joining us. Please don't forget to, Teresa, did you have anything else before we close? Don't forget to visit us at www.earringsoff.com. Please subscribe to our podcast, read our blogs. We spend some time trying to bring you good information, so please take some time to visit us and support us. We're on all of the platforms. Our next show, Teresa, is going to be
Saturday, November 26th at 9 a.m.
Yes. That's our pop-up. Again, we would have been discussing Deion Sanders, but Teresa wanted to bring him up today, so he can't be on our next segment, but no worries. We've got other things to talk about. Our next 8 o'clock show is going to be Tuesday, December 13th, here on Fireside. Please continue to support us. Tell your friends. Join us. We're excited about being a part of the Fireside family. Take good care. We wish you all the very best. Have a great evening.